what the dog doing?
Furfrou, one of the premier Pokémon introduced in the Kalos region of X and Y. A regular looking dog that could be styled into 9 other alternate forms, there's absolutely no way anybody could forget it, except for Game Freak themselves. Yep, in the modern era of Pokemon with limited Pokédexes in every game on the Nintendo Switch, Furfrou is among the handful that had never been available on the home console. Introduced in Generation 6 and available in Generation 7, it did not make it into the cut for Generation 8's Galar region nor Generation 9's Paldea, and because it was never in the original Diamond and Pearl, it was left out of the remakes and prequel that game got. It is odd because while I sort of understand some of the others being left out due to low popularity, Furfrou was one Pokemon that was heavily featured in promotional material and one that sort of defined the Kalos region. Obviously making this video now when we already have confirmation that Pokemon Legends ZA is on the horizon and has shown off Furfrou in the trailer, we're still a long time away from actually playing the game, so I feel it's worth it to chat about the funny little poodle. As a normal type single stage Pokemon, I feel that Furfrou otherwise wouldn't have stood out all that much, but the gimmick of being able to style its hair however you want really made it something cool. With X and Y being the first games to allow for character customization, it made total sense to have a Pokemon that could also be customized. These different haircuts didn't add anything in battle, they were purely aesthetic, and that is perfectly fine, because it means you get a little way of personalizing your Pokemon team even more. And obviously this is inspired by how some people will style their poodles in real life. Personally, I was always a fan of the default look with its messy fur just hanging out like that, but the other forms are pretty cool as well. There's the Heart Trim, Star Trim, Diamond Trim, Debutante Trim, Matron Trim, Dandy Trim, Lariani Trim, Kabuki Trim, and the Pharaoh Trim. Boy, that was a lot to say. I do appreciate that these all got global link artwork like basically every other alternate form does, and I think it's a great idea to have each one with a unique color to better differentiate them. If I had to pick one of the styles as my favorite, I'd honestly say either Dandy or Pharaoh. I'd probably lean toward Pharaoh because then it could Exodia obliterate all the opponents. Also, it's kind of funny that Furfrou will apparently revert to its original form in 5 days. It's like the dew comes undone because it needs to be maintained, and the little visual change isn't the only thing it has going for it. I mean, it's not a bad Pokemon in battle for a playthrough, having access to the Fur Code ability. I remember having one with me during my first run and definitely used it in the battles of a post-game against some friends. And you know, I always like the little event that introduces you to Furfrou in the video games, where you had to help corner one in the gardens of Parfum Palace. I know not everybody might enjoy this, but I always like how it kind of felt like the Farfetch in the Ilex Forest. Also, it is a pretty cool way to show off the new 3D world that debuted in X and Y. Over in the anime, Furfrou actually made its debut in only episode 8. Here we meet Jessica and her runaway Furfrou that doesn't want to have its fur groomed. They run into Ash, Clement, Serena, and Bonnie, and so the episode is off to a start. Interestingly enough, I think this is the first episode that shows off Bonnie's quirk of asking almost any woman she sees to marry Clement. Anyway, the group heads over to the Pokemon groomer and they learn a lot about Furfrou and how their hair is styled. We don't get to see every form, but there are a decent amount shown off here. Later on in the series, we would see a few more. I do appreciate that there's an emphasis on the overall health of a Furfrou beyond just making it look pretty. And later on they run into Team Rocket with their usual type of con where they pose as Pokemon groomers and steal Fennekin. With the help of Furfrou, they're able to track them down for the battle of the episode. Pikachu ends up getting inked in the face by Inkay, and so Ash acts as his eyes and helps him navigate the battlefield. And dude, I forgot how good the battles are in the X and Y anime. The point is that seeing the trust between both the trainer and the Pokemon helps Jessica to realize what she's been doing wrong with Furfrou. It isn't just that Furfrou needs to trust her, but she needs to also trust Furfrou, and she has her chance to really connect with it after rescuing it when it gets captured by one of Team Rocket's devices. And so together they deliver the finishing blow and save the day, rescuing Fennekin. It's a nice episode and a good way of introducing the concept of Furfrou from the video games into the anime, ending off with Jessica's Furfrou getting styled just like the others that we saw. It even gets the heart trim. That's actually kind of a cute way to show the bond between it and Jessica. But that is just about the most that we've seen of this Pokemon since then. It did come back in Pokemon Go, which is the most recent way to obtain one and send it into Pokemon Home, but as we know, there isn't much else beyond that. I don't want to say that Pokemon Legends ZA is coming out specifically to add in Furfrou, more like it was one of the Pokemon not immediately included in one of the Switch games, because I knew that a revisit to the Kalos region would be coming pretty soon. It obviously isn't because a different hairstyle mechanic would have been too difficult to implement, because I mean we had Alchemy and Sword and Shield, and that is much more complicated. Just one of those random Pokemon that fell out of popularity for one reason or another, and so it remains on the list of infamous Pokemon, which is still really weird considering how short it is. Just think about how crazy things were before the reveal of Pokemon Legends ZA, where the future of this dog Pokemon was so uncertain. So let me know what you think about Furfrou in the comments below and which style is your favorite. Like I said, I honestly really like the default look, but I'd be interested to try out every style when it finally comes back. Anyway, I should probably be heading off. That dang dog is loose in the gardens again. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, including the Great Gators, Errors Away, ELR27, DeAndre, Zanido, Jamarcus Nixon, Frix, Boss Dragon, Justin Dowes, Ben's Quizm, Mazhar Siddiqui, Cemetery Hill, Pastel Blood, Cosmo Zero, Mr. Saturn, Rainfrux, Cheez-It62, Alex Switch, Shiny Hunter, Michael Snyder, Lockadox, GatorKid509, TF, Mathiclong947, Taijirai, Justin R, Phantom, and Quago. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter as well for more memes. Anyway, this is GatorX, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.
A new age of Pokemon begins. Legendary Xerneas and Yveltal clash in Pokemon trading card game XY. Powerful EX and all-new Mega Evolution cards. In stores now. Each booster pack of 10 cards sold separately. Cards vary by pack. One code card per booster pack.